Hello everyone, this is David Eddy. A warm welcome to the Conversations about End-of-Life Care SHOOC. What I'd like to do initially is just a short screencast just to show you how you will access your account initially, and then once you're in your account, how you access the workbook and how you navigate and begin to utilise the workbook as part of the course. Okay, so the first stage of the process is you should receive an email from PebblePad which is similar to the one you can see in front of you here. Obviously the username and the password is blanked out, but on yours it'll be clearly evident. So the first thing you'll need to do is to actually click on the link to actually log in. Now what I would suggest at this point is that you copy and paste that into your browser and you actually save that in your favourites so that you've got that easy to hand at some point in the future. But here I'm just going to click on the link and go to the login page. Okay, so the login page comes up. Now you'll find when you've got your password through from PebblePad that it's a random assortment of capitalised and lowercase letters and numbers. So if you want to change it to something more memorable, at this point here you would go to change your password and you would do that. Okay, so at this point now I'm just going to log in and then we'll take you into the workbook proper. So once you've typed your login and password, you'll come to the login page for PebblePad, and here initially you'll be presented with an opportunity to watch an introductory video from PebblePad. Now you can have a look at that, but the thing just to draw your attention to is that PebblePad has a wide range of functionality, and for the most part you'll not need to be utilising this during the course. You'll literally just be utilising the workbooks that we've prepared for you. So although you can have a look at that out of interest, it's not necessarily something I would recommend you do initially. So we just close that one down, and this brings us to the login page proper. Okay, so in order to find your workbook, the easiest thing to do would be to go to resources here, because this is a resource that's been shared with you. And you'll see here on the right hand side there's a whole range of resources that have been shared with you. Now all of these resources are integrated in your workbook, so you can ignore all of those and go down to the workbook here. So this is the workbook for the orientation week. Each week as we release another workbook, you'll see another workbook will appear in your resources. So if you just click on the workbook there, you'll see that's loading. This brings you through to the workbook for the orientation week. Okay, so a couple of things to point out. First thing is the headings for the workbook for each of the different pages are on the top. So we're on the welcome page at the moment. Next we go on to meet the team and so on. And you can see that moves all the way along. There's some further information there. But also you'll see there's a little navigation arrow just to the right there, which if you tap on that, you can pull across the rest of the menu headings as well, and you'll see on the opposite side there's an arrow for you to be able to go back. So this is the way in which you navigate through the different pages on the workbook. Now, since I'm on the final page here, which is the roundup where we close each of the weeks, if I just click on roundup, that takes us to the roundup page. And the way you view this is just to scroll down, and you'll see there's a bit of an introduction in terms of what's going on in terms of the roundup and what we're aiming to do. Now the reason I chose this page is this is an example of one of the integrated parts of the workbook where you'll be able to capture your thoughts and reflections and so on in terms of what you've learned and gained from the course. So this is an example of a reflective template here that you can complete and fill in. This is entirely personal to you. Nobody sees this unless you choose to share it with them. Okay, so the way this works is, for example, I could just click inside that box there and I could start typing. So my main learning points this week are, and so on, and I can go on. So once you've actually made your entry and you've documented your reflections or whatever activity it is that we've built into the workbook on different pages for you, key thing to do would be to make sure that you go here and actually save the work that you've done, and you'll get a notification that that's been done. Okay, so if we go to another one of the pages, here we've got access all areas. This is going to be an important page for you to work through initially, because this is going to be the way in which you're going to test your device to see whether you're going to be able to open all of the materials and resources and so on. So again, you'll see you have some text, some introductory information, and then you're advised to click on the image below. Now this is the access all areas resource that we've created for you to test your devices. So if you click on there, you'll see it takes you to the resource itself. Now I'm using the university's remote desktop, so that opens in a new window for me, which is kind of a bit irritating, but depending on your browser and the devices that you're using, it will normally open on a new tab up there, so you would see that. But the principle's the same. So this is the new window. If, for example, I wanted to make sure I was able to read a PDF document, I would click on that and it would open, and you can see that I'm able to actually access and utilize that without a problem. So I know I'm okay on that aspect. And then I can scroll down and have a look at other aspects, YouTube channels, that kind of thing, workspaces and so on. Okay, so that's going to be one of the ways in which you're going to be able to test your device. Other things to show you, for example, on the webinar page, if we scroll down here, each week we have a live webinar, and information and details about the webinars are specified there. And also the link to access the webinar is again embedded in the image below. So everywhere there is an image, it's either a link to a resource, to a video, a link to access a forum, that kind of thing. So hopefully very quickly you'll get into the swing of things, and that each of the pages is set up in exactly the same way. You'll have some text, there'll be some links, some resources, some information, some videos, some links to forums where you can make posts and make contributions to the conversations that are going on. And also we will have integrated some things like reflective templates and so on, where you can document and record your learning as you're going through. Okay, course content. For this week, because it's an orientation week and the focus is really on troubleshooting and making sure you can access everything, building your confidence in terms of using the platform and making posts, that kind of thing. But we have got some introductory content here which focuses on you looking after yourself. There are some video resources and so on, so you can work your way through that during the orientation week as well. So it's not just about actually using the tools and working your way through the system. There is some content there as well. And equally we have things like this interactive Padlet that you can click on there, and this is where there's information and support that you can utilize during the course. And you can see there's some information already up there. The idea with this particular Padlet is that we can crowdsource a range of helpful resources. So if you come across some information that might be useful, that you think could contribute and benefit the community, all you would do is have to double tap on there, type in whatever the title is, so I'm making this up as I go along, and that includes the spelling. And then in here I can write something else, so you can see there's something fairly random there. And if I want, I can add an attachment, add a document and so on. I could add a web link. So again, you can do that, and you can contribute to the discussion, and you can help build up this range of resources and so on that we will be utilizing throughout the course. Okay, if I just close that down and go back into the workbook. Okay, so the logical point to start when you come into your workbook obviously initially would be the welcome page, and that's where you would get the introduction, and there's an introductory video from Sue Willis, who's the course leader there as well. Okay, so hopefully you found this screencast useful. If you've got any queries, key thing to bear in mind in terms of that is that in order to make it straightforward for us to build up a list of what are the common questions and queries and issues that people are facing, throughout the workbook you'll see there are links to the workspace where you can actually pose queries and questions. Now the workspace with the conversation threads is where most discussions will take place. So once you're in the workspace, if we just click on queries and questions, there you go. All you then have to do is click on post a comment and start typing. Obviously a little bit of random typing there, nothing too specific. And then all you need to do is actually save that, and you'll see that it's actually been done. One of the course team can then post a reply and so on, so if you've got any queries and questions we can deal with that very easily. So that's fairly straightforward to do, and it's really useful if everybody utilises the same place to post queries and questions. So instead of trying to email the course team or post them in a different place, if all the queries and questions go on here, the likelihood is that a question that you have somebody else also has. So if they can see the question and the response on there, that's going to save you and everybody time, and all the queries and responses will all be in the same place. So hopefully you'll find that to be useful as well. So if I just close that one down for a second, and I think at this stage that's probably as much as we need to do in terms of going through the workbook, because I'm just noticing the screencast is now 10 minutes long, which is getting a little bit excessive. So I'll close at that point. Obviously, once you've opened and accessed your account, if you've got any queries and questions, you now know where to go and pose those. But we really do hope you enjoy the course, and we do look forward to your interactions and your participation. Thank you very much.